You've been changing your diet. You've gone to a totally plant-based vegan diet. Good for you. That's fantastic. But you know what? Your friends are asking you the same question, aren't they? They're asking, where do you get your protein? Or if you're new to this, you might be asking that yourself. Where am I going to get protein on a plant-based diet? Or maybe you've been Googling and you Googled plant-based protein sources, and that's what landed you here? Well, we've got some answers for you. The truth is, if you've just started a completely healthy plant-based diet, you might be at risk of developing a condition that I call protein anxiety. What that actually means is you're not protein deficient, but you're worried. You're worried about getting enough protein. You might not be sure what protein is, but you're afraid you're not going to get it. Well, let me put your mind at ease. Protein is widely available. It's in beans, it's in vegetables, it's in grains, and protein deficiency is really virtually unheard of if you're getting any normal combination of those healthy plant-based foods. All right, a few numbers. How much protein do you need? The government would say about 0.4 grams per pound of your body weight, or if you're going metric, 0.8 grams per kilogram. What that means is an average woman needs about 46 grams a day. A man, call it 56. But if you actually look at the numbers, most people get about twice that amount, and even those numbers are a little bit generous. Now, you might be thinking, well, a little protein's good, a lot has got to be better. No, I'm sorry to say it's not true. If you're really indulging in animal protein, what's coming along with it? Fat, cholesterol, the occasional salmonella? No, you don't need that extra protein. Your body can't use it, and neither can you. Okay, so where am I going to get protein from plants? Okay, more numbers. Let's say you're eating a typical 2,000 calorie diet, which is about normal for a typical person. Well, if all I ate was broccoli for a whole day, 2,000 calories would give me 146 grams of pure protein. If I ate 2,000 calories a day of nothing but lentils, not that you'd ever do this, but you'd get 157 grams of pure protein. So hopefully you're not having just broccoli or just lentils. If you're eating any variety of plant foods, you're getting protein-rich sources from all of them, including all of the essential amino acids that your body needs to make protein of its own. So as long as you're eating enough calories, you're getting enough protein, and that's also true for athletes. Athletes do need more protein, that's true. But what do they do to get more protein? They eat more food, and protein comes along with it. They're breathing more, they're getting more oxygen as they're running, they're eating more, they're getting more protein too. Now wait a minute, you might have heard somebody talk about essential amino acids, which I mentioned just briefly. Well, essential amino acids are building blocks that your body uses to make protein, but they are found in plants. Plants have all the essential amino acids that you need. And when you combine foods like rice and beans, you get all the best of all these different plant sources. So, protein anxiety, let it go. On a healthy plant-based diet, you're getting not just away from the bad things like fat and cholesterol, but you're getting into healthy foods, vitamins, minerals, and yes, plenty of protein to meet your needs. Have at it.
Let me get your thoughts on omega-3s. That seems to be a really hot topic that if you go on a vegan or a plant-based diet that you're not going to be able to get enough omega-3s. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is another thing that makes you want to jump off a building. There are very good sources, plant sources of omega-3. Well, let me just kind of give a sort of a little vignette about so-called fish oils. Because all these companies are touting, oh, fish oils as the best source of omega-3s, right? Well, what they don't tell you is that those aren't really fish oils. They're oils that are made by plants, the algae in the ocean. And the only reason that they're in the fish is because, algae grow, little copepods and shrimp eat the algae. Then a smaller fish comes along, eats the shrimp, stores those algae-derived oils in its body. The bigger fish comes along and eats the little fish. And so you get concentration of these plant fats in the fish. The fish didn't make them. The algae did. So they are plant-derived fats. And you can actually go online and find vegan sources of algae-derived omega-3 fatty acids. But there's omega-3 fats in walnuts, soybeans, green leafy vegetables, and legumes, and a whole host of plant foods. Again, the problem in Western countries is that we have too much of the refined omega-6 fats in our body, and that actually prevents our bodies from utilizing omega-3s effectively. So the point is that there are excellent sources of omega-3s in plant foods, but you also need to limit the amount of added oils and refined oils in your body, because those are typically the omega-6 fatty acids, which tend to be pro.
Essential to keep our brain healthy, our nerves healthy, our blood healthy. It's an absolutely essential nutrient. And yes, it's found in the flesh of animals, but animals don't make it. Cows don't make B12, chickens, pigs, no animal makes vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is made by bacteria that live in the soil. And these grazing animals are pulling up clumps of grass all day, and clinging to the roots of the grass are soil particles in which these B12 producing bacteria live. And the cow and the pig and the chicken and the goose swallow the B12 producing bacteria, and they produce B12 in the lumen in the gut of the animal, which is absorbed and winds up in the cow's muscle or the pig's muscle. And yes, you can kill the cow and kill the pig and strip the flesh off their bones and get your vitamin B12 that way. But again, you're just using the animal flesh as a vitamin tablet. The animal did not make it. Well, where do we humans fit into this? Well, the truth is that since the beginning of humans on this planet, we got our vitamin B12 the same place the cows and the deer and the antelope and the buffalo get their vitamin B12. We used to spend our days foraging, and we would pull up roots and tubers, and we might knock it on our leg once, but we would eat it, so we wouldn't wash it in chlorinated drinking water. And as we ate the unwashed vegetables, those same soil bacteria would enter our intestine, and we would get our vitamin B12 produced that way. Vitamin B12 washes into the streams in the natural world with every rainstorm, and we ancient humans, when we got thirsty, we found the nearest stream and we then dropped down next to it, and we drank stream water, and we would get vitamin B12 that way. So when we were living earth-connected lives, we humans, vitamin B12 was flowing through our digestive system and through our tissues the same way that it flows through the systems of the deer, the antelope, and the grazing animals. Well, welcome to the 21st century. Nobody's eating unwashed vegetables. They're all washed in chlorinated rinse water nowadays. Why is the chlorine added? To kill bacteria. Nobody's drinking out of streams anymore. You turn on your tap, and what comes out of the tap? Well, water that's been treated at the municipal drinking water plant with chlorine to kill bacteria. And because of modern sanitation, vitamin B12 has disappeared from the diet of those people nourishing themselves exclusively on plant-based foods. So it's for this reason that the modern vegan has to consume something to which vitamin B12 has been added. Fortified foods are now becoming more abundant, fortified soy milks, etc. But you can go to any natural food store and get vitamin B12 in a liquid, and I put a squirt on my tongue once a week, and I'm done with the issue. They have these little sublingual microdots you put under your tongue and dissolves in your mouth, and do that once or twice a week, and the B12 issue is solved. Again, it's an artifact of modern life, not to the inherent deficiencies of a natural, whole food, plant-based diet.
Studies have shown that vegetarians and non-vegetarians have the same risk of iron deficiency.
According to the World Health Organization, iron deficiency is the most common nutrient deficiency in the world, and it is one of the few mineral deficiencies that continues to afflict industrialized countries. A WHO study conducted from 1993 to 2005 showed that 30% of women and 12.7% of men across the globe showed signs of iron deficiency anemia. This serious disorder is triggered by long-term low iron absorption. What does iron do in the body? Iron helps create hemoglobin and myoglobin proteins that bind oxygen to red blood cells. Iron plays a significant role in the circulatory system and assists in delivering oxygen to your body and muscles. Iron also helps create hormones such as luteinizing hormone and growth hormone, which play integral roles in reproductive health. How much iron do we need? Can vegans get enough? The recommended dietary allowance of iron for adult men is 8 milligrams a day. For adult women, the required amount is higher at 18 milligrams, since women lose a lot of iron during menstruation. The National Institutes of Health, a leading U.S. health agency, recommends multiplying these recommendations by 1.8 when following a vegan diet. Dr. Pamela Ferguson, a registered dietitian, recommends whole foods and getting your iron levels tested regularly. Lentils provide 6.6 milligrams of iron per cup. 6 ounces of tofu contains roughly 3.5 milligrams.
Then from greens, kale, collard greens are wonderful sources.
Contrary to Popeye legend, there's not a lot of bioavailable iron in spinach due to inhibitors in the plant called oxalates. There are still plenty of vegan iron sources. Great news for chocolate lovers too. 1 ounce of 70% dark chocolate contains 10% of daily iron needs. Adding blackstrap molasses to your cereal or oatmeal is another tip. Just make sure you eat the oatmeal well before or after a coffee break.
Coffee and tea also inhibit iron absorption, and so you don't want to eat an iron-rich meal and wash it down with coffee or tea.
Dr. Greger of nutritionfacts.org notes there's a 12% increase in cancer risk for patients that consume iron from animal products. Plants, on the other hand, contain non-heme iron and offer plant-based protection from metabolic syndrome and protects against heart disease risk, according to the doctor. Increasing vitamin C can boost iron absorption.
This study showed eating vitamin C with your plant source of iron can increase the bioavailability by 3 times, surpassing the bioavailability of heme iron.
Foods like Swiss chard, broccoli, and potatoes are all excellent choices as they contain both iron and vitamin C. Do vegans need supplements? Consult your primary care physician or a certified health specialist before making any dietary changes. That's it.
What happens to your body when you go vegan? Thinking of making the jump to a vegan diet? You're not alone. In your first few weeks, you may feel especially tired. Without meat, vegans often have a hard time getting enough vitamin B12 and iron, which helps make red blood cells and transport oxygen throughout the body. But it's nothing a supplement or handful of nuts can't fix. You may also discover that foods don't taste the way they used to. That's because your zinc levels have taken a hit, affecting your overall sense of taste and smell. On the plus side, expect to lose some weight right away. After switching, new vegans lost an average of 10 pounds over a 10-month period. Plus, a 2009 study found that average BMI was lower for vegans than all other diets. Another benefit that you may experience is a healthy decrease in cholesterol, blood pressure, and heart disease risk. In 1999, a study showed that vegans were 24% less likely to have clogged arteries from saturated fat and cholesterol. While your arteries are better off, your bones may not be. If you're like most Americans who get their daily calcium from dairy products, you may see a dip in calcium levels. But you can combat this by simply boosting your intake of kale, broccoli, and other leafy greens. Plus, cutting out dairy might make you more regular. 60% of humans don't have the enzyme to properly digest lactose in dairy. The result is cramping, bloating, and even diarrhea. Swapping dairy with high-fiber veggies will make bathroom trips a lot more productive. Like any diet, veganism has its pros and cons. Be sure to research and see which diet is best for you.